Yo, so it's still the best online radio show. It's still News Instanta Sports. And we're on the best online radio, our brand radio scope, concurrently on our YouTube channel, News Instanta Sports. The link is on the in the bio of our News Instanta page, both on IG and Twitter. So today we got a whole lot of attention-seeking stuff. I'm pretty sure Kachi is waving on the right of the guys. His guys defeating the Maple Leafs. He has seen the back of LeBron James again. James Harden is out for game two. Kachi is having fun, basically. Basically, he's having fun. So I want you guys to say hi to the audience at home. I'll start with you, Kachi.
Sport fans, sport world, it's always a pleasure being here. It's been an amazing week of sports. We can't wait to share the details with you.
Olale.
Yeah, hello everyone. Wherever you are, any part of the world where you are listening to us, welcome to the show.
All right, perfect. So we're missing Yinka and Shay today, unfortunately. But like the saying goes, the show must go on. So we start with the Phoenix Suns versus LA Lakers. I don't even know where to start. I feel we saw the cracks um s- in the regular during the regular season. People seem to play down, especially Olawale. Olawa said we should not read so much into it. I noticed something. Um, it's only during the fourth quarter that LA Lakers decides to show up during the regular season. More often than not, they are off the radar for much of the game, come back in the fourth quarter to win games, right? And we saw the cracks. LeBron missed 20 games and racing into a two game lead for this. Everybody thought, okay, Lakers being Lakers, they're going to do something. But Book, I can't remember his first name, just came out all gun blazing. Thoughts
Devin
the
Booker.
Yeah, David Booker came out all gun blazing. Thoughts the LA Lakers how the game is done, how the game is being played, even with LeBron, they just can't cut it. I'll start with Olale. It's disappointing. We expected Lakers to do better than this. Even AD was not fit. LeBron had his own injury worries and all. But overall, it's very disappointing, especially for the supporting cast. We've been talking about them, people like Kuzma, Gasol. They just don't cut it, and especially that guy Colin Schroeder. I don't know if I actually pronounce his name correctly.
Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, he rejected
Dennis,
a 84
a
million
contract
dollar
extension.
contract that wanted
Extension.
100
That was a
million.
big mistake.
Are you see the guy like is this guy even a basketballer?
Mm.
Since the inception of the franchise in 1960, that's the first guy that won a game with 0 points, zero like this, zero. Alali, I'll start with you. Overall, your analysis of the game.
Well, I think the game was lost in the first quarter. I think at the end of the first quarter, the Phoenix were, I think they established as high as an
30
18
points.
points lead.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, which became very difficult for the Lakers to recover. Basically, the Lakers couldn't get from the perimeter. The Phoenix Suns they got everything they wanted, shooting the threes. The Lakers couldn't before the Lakers started playing with some sense of urgency. The Lakers, what we actually probably the DNA of the team, or let me say, what we actually know the team for is their defense.
Uh-huh.
And for the first two quarters of the game, their defense was nowhere to be found. They were not doing it was during the third quarter, and you could see they were able to cut the lead down to 10 points at the point in time. So if you even now the first quarter deficit, of course, Lakers could have probably gotten a chance to win.
Yeah.
So I think they lost the game in the first quarter, and I think starting AD was a big mistake, because what you will notice in the game was the Phoenix Suns guys, they target him, they were running the play through him. They know he couldn't really move well.
Yeah.
And the Lakers gave away some couple of points early in the game when people go at Anthony Davis. So it's what I think we saw the writing on the wall. Yeah. It's a team that couldn't do anything if, what do you call it? If Anthony Davis is not fit. For me, I think the bigger picture for the Lakers is looking ahead. I think they need to sit Anthony Davis down. They need to have some very honest conversation with him. He needs to work on his fitness. He needs to learn a lot from LeBron in terms of keeping your body 100% or being fit. So because number one, he's the best player in the team. LeBron is a very great player. Is a probably top 5 player of all time. But the truth is, Father Time is catching up.
Number one.
Father Time is catching up on LeBron.
Yeah.
The truth is, LeBron cannot be the best player in the championship with the team again. So AD, they will need a fit AD and probably a third option. But my fear with their third option is I don't know where it will come from. Probably Kachi can give a bit more insight because they are maxed out at the moment. LeBron, AD, Cantwell, Pope, and one of that. I think they are over. The three of them are over $100 million a year. So I don't think they have enough cap space to do that. I don't think whether they have enough draft picks to go for a third star. So they are in a fix for now, and I don't know.
And they can't do a trade as well. I say they can't do a trade as well. Off-season trade, probably.
Who are they going to trade to get a very good this team? The most valuable person in that squad that they can trade is Anthony Davis, and you can't trade him. So I don't know what they can get from Kuzma at this point in time. It's very difficult.
I can tell you what they can get for Kuzma.
A bottle of granite, right?
Yeah, a bottle of granite with 2 small bottles of soda.
Okay, Kachi, I'm going to come for you now, right? It looks like a terrible situation, but like every human situation, every situation can be turned around, right? What's the way forward for the Lakers going forward? The way out of these roads. LeBron is not going anywhere, and like Wale rightly said, he can't be the best player in the championship winning thing. Probably not even championship. Just qualify for the playoffs for now and see if you can build on that. Especially your overall thoughts on the supporting cast at LA Lakers. Who do you think can actually switch up and step up his game to help the team?
To answer your question, Bebo, I think first thing the Lakers have to do is whatever script they had for this season that just ended, ignominiously, is for them to tear up the script. It's just not going to work. And like Wale alluded to, apart from LeBron and AD who are under contract, they only have 3 other players that are currently under contract: Kuzma, Contavious Caldwell Pope, KCP, and Marc Gasol. We're not sure what Montrezl Harrell will do if he's going to take up his player option, about $9.7 million. First things first is they need to tear that script. Marc Gasol, in spite of what he did with our dear Raptors during their championship winning year, cannot cut it and cannot be the preferred center in a championship winning team. I agree completely with Wale that LeBron cannot be the alpha male anymore.
Yeah.
The way they are currently constructed, they will make the playoffs. but they probably would not get out of the first round anymore. In the way they're. So the first thing is tear that script up. Look these players in the eye and tell them you are not fit to be a Laker. Dennis Schroeder has come out to say, oh, he wants to be a Laker, but he wants to be very fair. I don't see what is unfair in being given the max you could have gotten in the middle of a season, which is 4 years, 84 million. If that is not fair, then maybe you should come and trade jobs with me, and then let's know what's fair. I think they need to, Rob Pelinka needs to sit down with these guys and say, you're not fit to be a Laker. I'm ready to cut my loss and, let you go against the salary cap, or package them in a multi-franchise deal. I still don't know which other franchise will be interested. I know that as soon as the season ended, they started saying, oh, they would trade 3 players to see if they could get Damian Lillard from Portland or Portland Trail Blazers. I don't know how that would work. I know LeBron has been whispering into Steph Curry's ear right now. But the most important thing they need to do is let those guys know, if you do not cut it within the first 20 games of the next year, we don't mind taking a cap hit just to let you go. Unfortunately, they don't have draft space because they've traded up most of their draft picks to get AD and to get a few other players. I can't remember who right now. But they need to also look internally. Antetokounmpo, Giannis's younger brother, has to be developed. You have to drill him in the Laker way. Talen Horton-Tucker, THT, also has to be. He's shown some promises in the past, but you have to drill him. Alex Caruso, we have to get consistency out of him. Personally, the Lakers made their first mistake when they traded for AD by not including Kuzma. Kuzma should have been part of the deal, and Mark Ingram should have been retained. But that's not, we shouldn't worry over spilled milk anymore. Tear the script, develop players internally, have tough conversations, even with AD, to say, AD, there are some games. I don't care whether you like to play that role or not, but there are some games and there are some teams where you have to start as a center. He needs to have that. LeBron spends about $1.5 million a year maintaining his body. That is why he's been able to be at the top for 18 straight years. AD needs to take the craft serious. You want to earn $200 million like Steph Curry, treat your body right.
Could be to get Steph Curry to the Lakers. Kachi.
Are you remember?
Yeah, I said, how visible do you think to get Steph Curry into the Lakers team? How visible do you think that is actually?
It's very difficult right now because, Wale made mention to it. Right now, they don't have draft picks. I think the earliest draft pick they have is the first round 2023, if I'm not too sure. I think it's the 2023 pick or even the 2024 pick. Oh, wow. Right now, the Warriors, even though I think 2 weeks ago we said, oh, we don't think they are Klay Thompson return away from competing. I think they are. The Warriors are not in a rebuild state. They have the first round pick next year, I think, for sending Andrew Wiggins out. I think so. If they keep those, there's really no pressure on them to let Steph Curry go now. The only thing is how greedy or how desperate is Steph for another championship. If he is not, then the Lakers have no say. However, if Steph Curry is desperate to compete for another title very soon and not in 4 years' time, then maybe the Lakers would have a bargaining chip. So right now, I don't see it looking very likely.
Very likely. Okay, great. And to game one. Okay, let me brush up my shoulder. You know that song? If you're feeling like a pain, Come on, brush your shoulders off. So we did it. Brooklyn Nets did it against Milwaukee Bucks. You guys feel like, I don't know. I'm the number one Brooklyn Nets supporter right now, and unfortunately they lost James Harden. James Harden looks to be the Jaggernauts. Um, how do you think this is going to affect Brooklyn Nets overall going to game two? Olali, you need to unmute yourself. I'll start with you now, Olali. How much do you think losing James Harden is going to affect the next game plan and your overall thoughts of game one?
Of course, it's going to affect them. When you miss an all-star player, somebody who's averaging over 24, 25 points, 28 points per game in the season. Of course, you are going to miss that contribution. There is no way, even despite the fact that you have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Yeah. But again, I think they still have enough weapons to hurt the Milwaukee Bucks in the offensive side. The major concern still remain the defensive side, especially how they defend the paint. Yesterday, Giannis, I think, scored 34 points, which is probably a bit okay. And there is a particular abnormality in that game. The Bucks, who are probably among the best three-point shooting team in the league, I think they shot six out of 30 from 3 points, which is like 20% of their 3 points. We don't expect this to continue. I think one of the reasons they actually had such a shooting slump was because I think when the number of days it took them to play this game after they ended the Miami series, I think it's like 6 to 7 days. So you could expect some bit of rustiness in their distance. But very encouraging from Brooklyn Nets. I think they took care of the business very well. Clarkson is going to be a key for them in the paint. If he can stay level-headed and with the support, because it seems Clarkson and KD they are the two genuine defenders the Brooklyn Nets have. Yes, presently now, and they will need those guys to be on top of their game, and they will need Blake Griffin to contribute the same thing he contributed in the first game. Okay. Now you know that James Harden is not available again. You need a Blake Griffin to at least give you something close to 16 to 18 points and probably over 10 rebounds, at least to even things out. Yeah. But expect the Milwaukee Bucks to come out more blazing. Gun blazing in the second game. It won't be the same. You won't see the same Milwaukee
that we saw in the first game.
And for the first game for Brooklyn, I think the second game is a key to them advancing to the Eastern Conference Final. Okay. If they could win game two, Milwaukee will be under pressure.
All right, perfect. Kachi, so how big of influence, of course, am I supposed to even ask this question? But I'm going to ask anyway. It sounds somehow, it sounds stupid, but I'm still going to ask. How big of influence is Giannis going to be going into game two?
Oh, very big. But before I even get to that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you that my colleague Debo is just a sucker for successful teams. And is right now riding on Brooklyn Nets coattails. Just as the same way he will tell you he's now a Madrid fan, but we'll get to that later. I have to just put that out there. To answer your question, Giannis will be very big. One of the things we felt the Brooklyn Nets would struggle against would be having a center who attacks the paint, who pounds that ball in the paint. Yeah. And that is what Giannis will do well, driving straight down the lane and opening up the field for Drew Holiday, for Chris Middleton as well, and the young boy Brian Forbes, who couldn't miss in the last series against the Heat. Giannis will become really, really key, especially now that the Nets are a bit thin in not having another probably will not call him a perimeter, as elite a perimeter defender as KD is, but missing James Harden provides another opportunity for Giannis to attack that paint. And it has to be oscillated. Giannis has to do it. Brook Lopez has to do the same thing. Lopez cannot remain static and just wait to crash the defensive board. He also has to drive. That way they can kick the ball out to the lane and get their 3 points. But beyond all this, Giannis or whatever, the Bucks have to realize now that, hey, Blake Griffin cannot always be hot. He will not always be hot. I mean, we know 100%. His antecedents. We know that Griffin is probably the first insight into how AD is. Heavily talented, but just can't stay healthy. Right. They should trust what has got them here so far. Trust your system. Trust the fact that Chris Middleton can provide the spark you need, that Drew Holiday will be a point guard for you, and let Giannis drive down that lane. So to answer your question in a nutshell, Giannis is critical to this series. As a matter of fact, now that you mentioned it, I said that the Nets, for them to win, they will go against three of the best centers in NBA just to win this league. They have to go against Giannis, potentially against Joel Embiid, and if they make it out of the East, and maybe just maybe the Utah Jazz gets there, they also have to contend with Rudy Gobert.
Okay. I don't think Rudy Gobert will give them lots of problem.
Okay.
Right.
That's great. And the LA Clippers are switching it up. They're doing what they know how to do best. Winning their game. And of course, the ATL won against the Philly 182, 120, 128, 124. Topping job a bid out of the game. But before we go into tennis world, Kachi, I'm going to stay with you because I know you really don't rate the Utah Jazz. You feel they are going to fall off like a pack of wood during the playoffs. Do you still hold that belief, or do you give them a little bit more respect as of today?
I still hold that belief. I said it many weeks ago, and until they change my mind, I will still say the same thing. Until you prove it, then you can't talk about it. And it's probably the same thing I've been saying about the Nets. On paper, they are the best team, but until you go out there and win a championship, it's all talks.
No, don't put pressure on us. We're not winning the championship.
The Jazz have not faced pressure. Yes.
Whatever reservation you have about the Utah Jazz, I respect that. Mm-hmm. But you have to realize that as it stands now, the 4 remaining teams in the Western Conference NBA playoffs, none of them have won the championship.
Not match up. They don't.
You have the Suns, who have not won it before. They've been to the finals. You have the Mavericks are out as it stands.
Yeah.
The Clippers have not. They've not even got into the Western Conference final before. They've not been there. Before. You have the Utah Jazz who have been to the finals, but they've lost. And you twice. Have who is the 4th team now?
The Nuggets.
The Nuggets. You have the Nuggets. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the mix of the teams they find themselves around, they fancy their chances. They are not playing against.
Oh yes, absolutely. They do fancy their chances.
They are not playing against the Lakers. Mm-hmm. So they expect them to go with the mindset of we can take down the Clippers in the semifinal.
And I don't even think the Clippers stack up very well against them. Right? Yeah. I'm not saying they don't fancy that. Of course, they are the last 4 remaining in the Western Conference final. But all I'm saying is this year they've never faced adversity. Yeah, they've led the conference from day one.
For day one.
Probably from day one, or maybe from 100%. Day 3. They've
100%.
led that conference.
Yeah.
They've not faced, I mean, there was no injury setback like the Lakers had, or even the Clippers have had. They've had most of their key players very healthy, playing at a consistent clip. Let's see what happens when they go 2 games down, when they drop the first game at home, when they split their home games, and then they have to recover. Let them do a 3-1. Let them come back from a 3-1 deficit. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Right now, this will be the first championship in 10 years that neither the Lakers, the Heat, nor the Warriors will be participating in. Not the Lakers, neither LeBron, Steph Curry or the Heat, the Warriors, will be participating in. So we will celebrate any new champion, but I'm not sticking my neck out for anyone.
All right, perfect. Fair enough. I'm not an Utah Jazz fan, so you can abuse them all you want.
We know where you are. If the Jazz should win
I'm still an NY boy in New York and Magista. And of course, from there we'll move to the technical point. Bubbling things. I know we have someone here that is anti-Serena. I don't know how anybody will hate Serena anyways, or not love Serena. Don't let me use the word hate. How would you love Serena?
It's possible now.
I don't know.
I'm a big Serena fan. Yeah. I still need to ask. I need to ask what he drinks and what Serena did to him.
The person knows himself. Let's keep it hush. Anyways, congratulations, Olale. Serena was defeated straight sets in the third round of the French Open by Lina Rybakina in the fourth round, 6-3, 7-5. So Wale, I know we said this behind closed doors, but realistically, at this point, is it about time Serena just let go? Like it or not, they can bring in anybody, any courts, any Sydney courts record. Serena is the best female athlete, if not the best athlete of all time. Is it about time Serena just let go, focus on family, a clothing line, and the rest, or give it one more shot?
Well, number one, we have to respect decision. We have to respect our decision to do whatever she feels she can still do. But I'll probably cite some few examples just to compare Serena's situation. Now, I don't think that Messi have to win the World Cup before we recognize him to be among the best footballers we've ever seen.
Yeah. True that, 100%.
I don't think LeBron James have to match Michael Jordan's 6 NBA titles before you probably say, wow, he's one of the best guys that have played the game.
Yeah.
100%. You understand?
Yeah.
So for what Serena has achieved in her career, let me tell you something about the Serena career. The first time I heard of Serena, or when Serena won her first Grand Slam title,
the US Open,
I was still I was in secondary school.
Yeah,
then, probably SS2 going to SS3.
Yeah.
Now, looking at the longevity, that it's a big thing. Looking at the number of titles she has won, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
I don't think she needs to match. What do you call it?
Courts record.
Of, I think is it 24 titles?
Yeah.
Before the whole world we either the argument is already there. And opinions will always be divided. Even if she eventually wins 25 or 26, some school of thought will still believe that probably she's not the best. While some will argue that she's the best. So for me, I just feel like it's just about time
she draws the curtain.
It's all about time. Yeah. The body. There's sometimes the initial returns will certainly set in.
Yeah,
the body is not the same again.
Yeah, for me, I think Serena ought to choose the championships that she actually participates, just like Roger is doing right now. And that leads me to Roger, and that leads me to you, Bukachi. Roger withdraws from Roland Garros and deciding he actually won his match, but the match lasted 3 hours and 25 minutes. He cited his fitness issue. Roger does not have any business in Roland Garros. It's not like he's going to win it anyways. He was just trying to keep up in shape, right? And now is withdrawing. Um, it makes 100% sense for him to withdraw to keep up his fitness against the actual Grand Slam that he has a chance of winning, quote and unquote, right? Um, but basically, at this rate, I'm just going to ask you this question straightforward. I feel Roger is the best of all time, anyways. Nobody's going to change my opinion about that. But at this rate, do you think Roger, at 39 years old, do you think he should go down this route? He should just leave. Roger cannot play 4 hours of tennis back to back. That's the obvious truth. Do you think these guys are doing it? They're overdoing it. This is not an era of Pete Sampras or Andre Agassi, when they were in their late 30s, they were still the best. I don't think Roger can defeat Djokovic when Djokovic is fit after playing a 3 hour or 4 hour set of match before that. I start to be corrected anyways. I like your opinion on that, Kachi.
I think these guys, because of how much they spend to remain in shape, taking care of their body, eating right, they've earned that,
right,
for lack of a better word, say the right to play for as long as they feel their body will let them, without disputing the fact that you cannot beat Father Time. And you're right. It's actually very, very hard to play on clay. The ball spin a different way, and it bears a huge impact on your knees. That is why even the biggest clay specialist that we have often goes to drain whatever fluid from his knees after a very rigorous clay season. And I think for Federer, who turns 40 in August, grinding another, because this is just the round of, he just qualified for the round of 16, which means that he potentially has to play 16 hours more just to win a championship. That is a lot of mileage for a 40-year-old. The excuse he gave was that he was listening to his body, and it makes a lot of sense. So to answer your question, if he was very healthy, and if he wasn't coming off 2 knee surgeries and over 1 year of rehabilitation, and if he had played more than 3 competitive games this year, meaning that if he has been in tip-top shape, then I have no problem with him competing. Definitely not. However, he hasn't. He's just off 2 surgeries on his knees, which is what bears the biggest brunt of playing on clay. He's just rehabilitated. He has played just 3 matches this year before arriving in Paris. So he's obviously not in the best shape.
I think it makes sense to withdraw from the Dubai Open.
It was a business decision to withdraw now with his ego intact. I won my match. Let me compete for grass.
Kachi, like Debo rightly stated. See, the truth is this. I still don't know. It will take a miracle for Roger Federer
to win another Grand Slam.
Even on the grass.
It's doable.
Is it not specialist on the grass?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
But
it is not about the.
It's doable.
It's about
Kachi is doable. I'm not arguing with you. It's doable.
Let me tell you. Let me just give you one instance how it's doable. It's doable if, number one, he doesn't fall on the same half of the draw as Novak Djokovic. Number one. That means he likely won't face a Novak until the final. Number 2, if Novak by chance gets surprised by the Tsitsipas's, by the Medvedev of this moment, and he doesn't have to face this
Kachi, you can see now that you are for that to happen, you could see you are bringing like 2, 3, 4 scenarios that has to happen at the same time. I'm just saying,
is it possible?
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, of course, we are not saying it's not possible. But just like I said about Serena, I don't think Federer has any business in the game. If him or by himself could withdraw from the championship all because of he feels his body cannot stand that kind of the rigor, exactly. So see, Davos said something now that as far as it's concerned, Roger Federer is the greatest of all time, or is the best ever tennis player. I don't think that will change by anything. I don't think that will be amplified by winning another championship.
It's not going to change.
It will change. But don't forget that these players have ego. These guys have their egos.
Sorry, guys. Sorry for speaking over you. Kachi, I'll just put your mind back to like 3, 4, 5 seasons. Roger has lost at least 4 finals to Djokovic. He cannot beat that boy. That's the truth. He cannot beat that boy. I think the last championship he won was the Australian Open, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And he played against Nadal in Australia. If he had played against Novak, the dexterity of Novak will always triumph over Federer. And not because Novak is better, but because Novak is younger, stronger, and
it's just a mentality thing. But let me take your mind back to I think it's just about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Remember what happened to Novak in the Rome Open?
Rome
was it the Rome Open?
Rome Open, yeah, against.
It was in the Rome Open, right?
Yeah, Rome
exactly.
Open. Yeah.
These things happen in football. I mean, we saw a Barcelona team in 2012 play against a Chelsea team they should have beaten.
Okay.
In 2012, we knew that Barcelona team was definitely better than Chelsea.
Yeah.
But these things happen.
Sincerely, I like the way this topic stands. I love the way it stands. I know Olawale and I, we are not always on the same pedestrian. I don't like it when we're on the same pedestrian anyways. But then and again, just to chip in one more thing, Naomi Osaka over the course of last week withdrew from the French Open as well because of her mental health. This is a young lady that earned £55 million in prize money, and he lost for the French Open organizer.